Hello everybody and welcome to Hotshot Racing. This is a new arcade racer that's just come out, and today I'm going to take a look at it and show you why you might just want to buy this yourself. So we're going to kick off in Grand Prix mode. This is just basically the career mode, which is comprised of a series of 4 race championships where you earn points based on your finishing position and try and come out on top in the end. And each championship is also split off into 3 difficulty settings of normal, hard and expert, where the AI get progressively faster and, more crucially, I think, more aggressive as the difficulty goes up. Before each event, you get to choose from this list of characters. Each character has 4 different cars assigned to them. Most of the time, where the character's from and the cars tend to come from the same place, they kind of correspond. Obviously, the cars aren't real, they're just replicas, but obviously if we go with Mike here and the selection of American cars, you can very clearly tell what they are. So you've got the Ford GT there, the Shelby Daytona, a Cillian S7 and a Panos Esperanto replica. Speaking of those characters, they do speak to you. They have voices and accents which are questionable at best, but they don't tell you anything useful, so I've turned them off. Luckily you can do that. But I digress. Each of these 4 cars, with every character, you'll have one that's balanced of all different speed categories, one that's focused on speed, one that's focused on acceleration, and one that's focused on drifting. When you select your car as well, you'll find a decent amount of customization options. Now, the upgrades themselves aren't that wild, but you can change pretty much any item you want, whether it be paint and liveries, to wheels, bumpers, wings, whatever. You've got a decent amount of scope there to personalise your car, which is always a nice option, especially considering when there's 32 cars in this game. So, getting into the racing itself then, what is it like? And it's simply just arcade fun. You have a kind of rev boost at the start, which you'll get if you're in the right rev range, and handling is your kind of typical tap brake to drift arcade affair. Cars are very responsive and you're carrying a lot of speed pretty much all of the time. What is nice to see though is the cars do behave differently. They're not wildly different in most cases, but for example, the Bentley Speed 8 replica I was driving, I can't remember what it was called, it handled like a very caricatured version of a race car as far as the drifting goes. It was very responsive but could be quite snappy. But when I drove the Daytona Cobra replica thing, it leaned a bit more and kind of fell into oversteer without that drifting, that tap brake to drift. And as a result of that, you'll find cars that you like and don't like, and over time you'll learn what works for you. I'm also happy to report they did a similarly good job with the racing itself and the AIs. They can be quite aggressive, as I said, it gets higher as the difficulty goes up, and you kind of find yourself bouncing off of them and pinging around. And you can occasionally spin and end up in the wall, which might ruin your race, but provided it's not on the last lap, you've normally got the time to catch up, which is quite nice. The AIs do rubber band, obviously it's an arcade game, but that means they're always close to you, there's always some kind of exciting racing going on, which is nice to see. At the end of the day though, even if things do go wrong, it's kind of a hard game to get mad at really. And when you are able to make those epic recoveries and comeback drives, it's really rewarding. Another thing contributing to that really fun racing experience are the visuals. Obviously, the graphics aren't going to be to everyone's taste. They're very bright, very in your face, and of course they're not the most advanced thing ever. There's hardly any ray tracing going on here, but I picked this game up for under 15 quid, brand new. I'm not sure really what you're expecting, but I think they do a good job and the style works perfectly. And the environments and the tracks also help. They are just ideal. You've got all this fun stuff going around on in the environments. I saw like a dolphin jumping, there's waterfalls running, doors opening and all this fun stuff. It really helps keep everything interesting, even if you're in one of those rare moments where the AI aren't giving you a hard time and keeping you occupied that way. There's also a decent selection of tracks, although outside of the environments I do wish they were a little more varied. They're all around the same length, hovering just under a minute a lap, and I just wish there was a few more kind of different corner types, but overall, I can't really complain. The tracks are really fun to drive around, and they lend themselves to good racing. Right, so now we're going to have a little dive into the game modes. Now, aside from the normal arcade races, there are 2 other game modes, being Cops and Robbers and Drive or Explode. I've had to go with both, and we'll start off with the Cops and Robbers mode. Now this one's obviously fairly self-explanatory, but it's great fun as you're running around trying to get your bounty and not get destroyed by the cops, who are very aggressive. And it's probably in your best interest to kind of stay away from the front, as I found out for a lot of the time, because then that's where they target you. But wherever you are really, they tend to keep you on your toes, and it's great fun overall. I really like this mode. However, my favourite mode is definitely Drive or Explode, where you have to keep your speed up above a certain threshold, which increases as the race goes on, and otherwise you start to lose your health, and then your car will start smoking, eventually catch fire, and then you'll be out if you fully lose that health. Now, your car also gets faster as the race progresses, and it's really good. The pressure's really on you on this mode, and I'm having great fun with it. I also tried to have a little go with a multiplayer mode. I didn't get much experience with it because I had a few issues with the servers and I could only get into a lobby of 1 other person. But I have absolutely no doubt there's the potential for lots of fun to be had in this multiplayer mode. It's kind of the perfect game for it, really. The session I did enter was just normal race on expert difficulty, and with all the arcade races, you have checkpoints and you have to reach your checkpoints before the timer goes down. Normally that's not an issue, so you don't have to think about it, but on this difficulty, which I hadn't tried before then, the pressure was really on and your car will start to slow and you'll lose all the acceleration if you don't get to the checkpoint in time. Safe to say I didn't do very well on this mode, but we'll ignore that. Once you get to the end, you can spectate anyone else who's watching, and something else I didn't point out before actually, I don't know why you'd want to use it, but there is a cockpit mode if you so wish. So that's it, that's Hotshot Racing. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I do recommend you pick it up if you're into this kind of thing. No, the game doesn't have the widest scope ever. I can't say that I'm going to be playing it religiously months and months from now, but it's still a lot of fun for what it is. After all, it's not a full price game. I paid £12, I think, on the PlayStation Store for it, so it's definitely worth that. And if you have played it, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. But that's going to be it for this review. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.